Hey, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. Now, I have to give you a warning because the details that I'm going to give you of what happened to poor Anne Widdicombe, um, they're not very nice. I mean, of course, we knew they wouldn't be very nice. Obviously, murder is never very nice, is it? It's not going to be nice. But I think the details now that are coming out, it's even worse than you could imagine, really. Poor Anne. Poor Anne, she must have been absolutely terrified. So, what I'm going to tell you about in this video is what details have come out today. So, there were two things that happened today. So, the inquest into Anne's death was officially opened and adjourned, which is common in inquests. The inquest gets opened, it gets adjourned until more information comes out and the coroner gets all the information. So that happened today, the inquest, and we got some details from that. And then, of course, the suspect in Anne's horrible murder, he appeared in court for the first time because he was charged, wasn't he, yesterday? Joshua Kerry, finally charged. It's taken quite a long time for them to charge him. But they had the time, didn't they? Because they had rearrested him under the Terrorism Act, which meant that they had longer to question him, to try and establish, was this murder, this horrible murder of a 78-year-old woman, was it politically motivated, terrorist motivated, or is it a mental health issue? I mean, well, what is the reason it's the most pointless? You know, a lot of murders are pointless, you think, don't you? But this is especially pointless. You know, what did this man have to gain by murdering Anne? What was achieved? Nothing, nothing whatsoever. Just a horrible murder of an elderly woman. Ultimately, that's what it comes down to. Whether in the end they decide it's terrorism related or politically motivated, the fact that it comes down to is a 78-year-old woman was brutally murdered in the kitchen of her own home, where she should have felt safe. If she could not feel safe anywhere else, that is where she should have been able to feel safe. And this man allegedly travelled for hours to do this. Hours, over 4 hours, 4.5 hours, something like that, from South Yorkshire in the UK to Devon, where Anne lived. Travelled all the way there, bludgeoned her to death in her own kitchen while she was sat eating lunch, apparently, and drove back home again. Ordered a pizza. I wonder if he used Anne's cards because he took Anne's purse with him. So that's something else we found out today. So we're going to go through the things that we have found out today. Just people are baffling, aren't they? The things that they do. It's terrifying, really, that people could hold all that hate in their hearts. Somebody that they didn't even know, you know, somebody just that they'd seen on the telly, whether it's for their political views or whatever the reason was. I'm sure he had his own, as far as he was concerned, he will have had a reason. It won't be a reason we understand. It's just so pointless. Because he obviously wasn't going to get away with it, was he? I mean, how did he think he could get away with it? He was on CCTV. Door cam footage at his home and probably at Anne's home as well. So, you know, it was only a matter of time really before he was caught, even though, you know, somebody else was arrested first of all and very quickly released. It didn't take long, did it, before they got the man who seems like did do it. Okay, so that's what we're going to talk about in this video. As I say, just be warned, there are upsetting details. So I just want to say thank you, first of all. Thank you to you all for your likes, for your subscribes, for your support. This morning, a few of you sent me super stickers. I want to thank you for those of you who've sent me coffees, etc., or bought coffees. The link is there in the chat. Special thank you to my members. We're having a members live Thursday night, where we're going to be talking about the YouTuber who's trying his best to bring my channel down for some unknown reason, be known only to him. But you know what? You can't understand people's the way people think. Some people are just spiteful as well, aren't they? Just spiteful, and some people are just bad inside. I don't know. Terrible. But I suppose if you believe, as I do, I believe in God, I believe in good in the world. I think most of the world is good, but you can't believe in the good in the world without the fact there's bad in the world as well. And sadly, some people are just bad inside, like Joshua. Whether it's exacerbated by mental illness or political motivation or whatever, what Joshua allegedly has done to Anne Widdicombe, whether you like Anne Widdicombe or not, whether you agree with her views, whatever, what has been done to Anne Widdicombe is evil. Evil. There is no reason, no justifiable reason to kill a 78-year-old woman as she sits in her kitchen having her lunch. Cannot, the devil exists, and you know what? The devil, he works through people. He channels himself through people, and that day the devil channeled himself through Joshua Kerry. So what was that? Channeled himself through Joshua Kerry that day. So sad. Poor Anne, just sorry, just got to have a look at that message. Oh. Sorry, I'm still here. I just got waylaid by a message. I have to check my messages. Okay. So sorry, now I've got to do something now because of that message. Do you know what? As soon as I start a live thing, I can sit here and nothing ever happens. Never get any messages, don't have to deal with anything. As soon as I start a live stream, everything starts happening. So I've got to deal with that. Just 1 minute. Right, won't take a minute. Gosh, why do it? Anyway, never mind. I am here. There you go. I think I've dealt with that. Okay, sorted. Hello, Lisa. Hello, Princess. So, so it's thrown me all off. I normally do things in order. So thank you for all your support. Hello, lovely lurkers. Thank you for watching. Hello, replay crew. Thank you for watching. Look, I've got all these messages coming through now. It's just because I've started a live, of course. Hello, Princess. And hello, Lisa, who are in the chat. So Princess thinks it's made to look like a hate crime, and it's an inside job. It could well be, could well be. There's a lot more to find out, isn't there? There's a lot more to find out in this case. And as you say, Lisa, very, very sad. Poor Anne. I think most of us, I think because we know Anne, when I say we know her, obviously we don't know her personally, but Anne has been on our screens for so long. From ever since I can remember being interested in sort of politics, where, probably in my teens, late teens, Anne Widdicombe was always sort of around on the telly because she was in government then, of course, under Mrs. Thatcher's government. And then when she retired from Parliament, she became a TV personality. As I've said before, she's probably her political views don't align with mine, but some of them do. This is what I've said before. Just because you don't agree with someone maybe on some things doesn't mean to say you can't agree with them on other things. I like to no nonsense style. I like people that are honest and forthright, whatever their views are. If they've got their own convictions about what they believe in. I liked her views on animals. She was anti-fox hunting. She was very committed to animal welfare. So I like that. I liked her on Strictly Come Dancing, the way she could make laugh at herself and entertain people, and she wasn't scared of taking, to go on Strictly Come Dancing and let everyone see you. So when you patently cannot dance, she won over a lot of people, didn't she, by doing that? I liked when she was stood up to that horrible child murderer, Mick Philpott, the way she spoke to him and told him how it is, because he's a lazy, never worked, just letting the state look after his children. And then, of course, ended up murdering 6 of his children to try and get a bigger council house. Those are the things that I like about Anne. She's a lot more right-wing than me in so many things, but some things, I could find common ground with her, and I'm sure most people are the same. And then other people, loved her and agreed with her views. She was a committed, she had a lot of faith. She was a woman of faith, a woman of principles. And they were the positive things about Anne Widdicombe. But apart from all that, nobody, whoever they are, should be sitting in their kitchen having their lunch, and some twonk comes into their house. Now that's saying that he came in through the front door. Had she left the door open because it was hot, it was a hot day, I think that's a possibility, isn't it? Do you think Anne left the door open? Or because it says she was sitting having her lunch, so it doesn't sound like she went to the door and answered it. Did he just literally walk in? Did he literally just walk in through that front door? Terrible. So that's what we're going to look at. We're going to look at the details that came out in the inquest. Very distressing details, as I say, just to warn you. What happened when he appeared in court, and that's what we're going to go through in this video. So, yeah, she did have a fantastic sense of humour. I think that's it, Lisa. Now, one thing that Anne and I definitely wouldn't have agreed on, she was very supportive, of course, of Nigel Farage, which that is not my, I couldn't support him. I don't like him. But having said that, I wouldn't murder him all the same. This idea that because you disagree with someone's views, that you should be violent towards them, or I just don't understand it. Political debate, what's happened to it? It's about debate. The world is a battle for ideas. But when I say battle, it's not supposed to be a literal battle, like with weapons. I mean, it's a battle of ideas. of debate and winning people over, and being strong in your convictions, etc. So Anne was very supportive of Nigel, and of course it transpires that the last interview she did before she was murdered, she was supporting Nigel, as she always did, because she was spokesperson for Reform UK. And then it transpires that this person who allegedly has killed her had sort of pictures of Nigel. He's obviously had some sort of weird obsession with Nigel Farage. So was that why Anne got killed? Was she just the soft target because he couldn't get to Nigel, who he really hated for whatever reason? And so he chose, because this is a big hulking guy, isn't he? This Joshua Kerry, he's big in all senses of the word, and Anne was 5'1", 78 years old. But is that the reason that he chose to kill Anne? Because she was easy to kill, horrible, just awful, cowardly as well. What a big man, to go to the house of a 78-year-old woman, and catch her out while she's eating her lunch and bludgeon her over the head with a hammer. So it transpires that there's been a lot of talk about the stick that he took with him, that he was seen loading into the car, which looked a little bit like a baseball bat or a baton. Now it transpires it was a hammer. A hammer. He's walked into Anne's kitchen where she's having her lunch, and he's hit her over the head 21 times with a hammer. Now talk about overkill. 21 times, that's real rage, isn't it? You imagine that, if you even try it, if you pick up a hammer and bring it down 21 times, just yourself, like not actually on a person. Please don't try this at home, but you understand what I'm saying. If you've got a hammer or any sort of weapon, pick it up, bring it down, 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 pick it up, bring it down. That's only 5 times I've just done that. Like, if you could see me, I know I'm on the avatar, but I'm sort of lifting as if I've got a hammer in my hand and bringing it down. That was only 5 times. That took quite a long time, really, didn't it? You're looking at least 2 seconds for each hit. So that's a lot of hate and a lot of rage. It's complete overkill. Anne would have probably, I hope anyway, Anne would have succumbed on maybe the first or second blow. Don't need to carry on 21 times. Terrible. Unimaginable, isn't it? Hi, Mara. In fact, let's do that. So I know you can't see me, but I'm going to lift my arm up and bring it down 21 times. 21 times. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. I mean, I'm losing count as I'm going. I'm not even at 10 yet. You can just, so that's how long it will have taken him to do it. And I'm just literally sat in the chair lifting my arm up and down. What was it? Was he standing over Anne? I mean, it's just horrible, isn't it? It's horrible to think about how you could do it, and the overkill to do that to someone that you don't even know. You don't even know. You've got no reason to hate them that much. Those sort of crimes with all that overkill is normally somebody who's known to the person. Normally somebody who hates them that much for whatever reason. Somebody intimate with them in one way or another to do, so this boy, I say boy, he's not a boy, he's 28 years old. He he had all this anger towards Anne. So for whatever reason, is it mental health issues? Was he on drugs or alcohol? I don't know, but definitely unhinged. Lisa, he definitely, nobody would do that. Nobody would, and he's driven 4.5 hours to do it as well. So I know I keep harping on about that, but that really sort of strikes home to me, because you know what it's like. We all get angry. Don't we? Come on, we've got angry. Have you ever got in the car, not to go and kill someone, obviously, but to go and sort of, I don't know, challenge somebody. Maybe you've found something out about your partner, or, and you're really angry with them, and you think, I'm going to go and talk to them about this. I'm going to get this sorted out. If you had to drive for 4.5 hours to do it, by the time you got there, you'd be, well, I wouldn't even get there. I'd get in the car all angry, and then probably within half an hour I'd be thinking, I'm just going to go home and have a cup of tea or something. It's hard to sustain anger like that, isn't it? Very, very hard very hard to sustain all that anger, personally, I think. Okay, so let's have a look what they've got to say. And yes, it is a long way to stay angry, and to stay so angry that you can violently hurt someone like that. I don't know. So the inquest opened this morning, and it's in Exeter. The inquest is in Exeter, and Philip Spinney is the senior coroner for the county of Devon, who has opened the inquest. At more or less the same time, Joshua Kerry, the suspect, was arriving at Westminster Magistrates Court. And the hearing, there was a hearing for the 28-year-old suspect, who had finally been formally charged with Anne's murder. You'll notice here, good old Sky News, good old mainstream media. It's the same on the BBC. The BBC sort of articles about it. They constantly refer to her as Widdicombe. I'm fed up of complaining about this. I just find it the height of disrespect to refer to witnesses as Widdicombe, not even Miss Widdicombe, or I prefer to refer to her as Anne. That's her name. I wouldn't ever refer to her as Widdicombe. But anyway, I get fed up of complaining about it, to be honest. Yeah, Mara, the guy who, the ex-husband who killed Monique and Spencer Teppers, he drove for miles as well, didn't he? See, some people are real slow burn, aren't they, with resentment? And of course, he had split up from Monique years earlier, wasn't it 10 years or something? So some people can really slow burn resentment and anger. I can't keep anger up. I get angry, but I can't keep it up longer than half an hour, never mind 10 years. But I do feel with the Teppers murder over there in America, I think that wedding video, which was a beautiful wedding video, but it was on YouTube. And I just wonder if that horrible Michael, his name is, isn't he, Monique's first husband, did he see that video on YouTube? You can just imagine him sitting there with all the resentment growing and growing, and seeing how happy they looked. Monique and Spencer on that wedding video just looked so happy. It was a beautiful video, but some people can't stand other people being happy. He hadn't recovered from her leaving him, even though he was a control freak and he deserved to be left. Poor Monique, she found happiness with Spencer. But, I think that wedding video, I don't know. I just imagine him sort of sitting there brooding, drinking, smoking, watching the video over and over again, and hate growing in his heart. But anyway, that's it. We can never understand other people, can we? what other people will do. It's luckily for us, it's beyond us. You know, we are not that sort of person. Everyone gets angry, but to get angry to this point. And look, we look at Anne here at the end of the day. I know she was a feisty lady and she was a fit 78-year-old, but she was still a 78-year-old. It would be very difficult, you know, to really hurt someone elderly like that. I think whoever it was, how could you do it? What sort of a person are you? Anyway, so let's see what else came up at the inquest. So the medical cause of Anne Widdicombe's death is yet to be established. I mean, you know, I think hitting someone over the head 21 times with a hammer, isn't that pretty obvious? But, you know, I don't know what they have to establish. Surely it was traumatic, you know, trauma, blunt force trauma would be. But anyway, they haven't got round to releasing her cause of death or her medical cause of death. Philip Spinney, Senior Coroner for Devon, set out the circumstances of the former MP's death as he opened and adjourned her inquest in Exeter this morning. Running through the details of the case, the coroner said concerns were raised on the 9th of July that Anne was uncontactable and an employee was asked to conduct a welfare check. And the former MP was found to be unresponsive and with visible injuries. And then this strange thing happened, didn't it? Because, you know, the next morning then, her agent announced her death. Her death was announced. Everyone was eulogizing about her. Nothing was mentioned about her being murdered. And it makes you wonder what, you know, some people were saying, oh, that it was thought it might be an accident, you know, that she might have fallen. Is it that wasn't until they got her to the coroner that maybe they did think she just banged her head or now? But you know what, when someone's hit 21 times with a hammer, I can't imagine, you know, I don't mean to be horrible, but it can't have been much of a head left, really. 21 times with a hammer, and they didn't realise it wasn't an accident. That is strange to me. And then, yeah, the agent came out, announced that Anne had died. Everyone's giving their condolences and, you know, eulogizing and commenting on her career, etc., including me, you know, because it was a shock because she hadn't been ill or anything. And then, boom. So that was the Friday morning, and then by 4 o'clock or so in the afternoon, the police had come out and said, oh, by the way, it's a murder inquiry. It was like, what? You know, so it was odd the way it all came out, I think. So a post-mortem has been taken, but at this stage, the precise medical cause of death is yet to be established, Mr. Spinney said. He added that it continues to be an intensive and complex investigation for the police. And the inquest has now been adjourned until the end of criminal proceedings. So the inquest continues. Then what happened was the court hearing that was supposed to be first thing this morning then was delayed till 10:30. And then I think it was delayed even more than that. But the coroner said it is plain that Anne Widdicombe is much loved and greatly missed, the senior coroner said as he opened her inquest. He offered his deepest condolences to her family, and he described her death as an intensely private matter. He explained that the purpose of today's hearing was to formally open her inquest, but it would be put on hold until the criminal case is resolved. Then the court hearing was delayed again till 2 p.m. I wonder why that was. Oh, probably he was talking with his lawyers. So a member of court staff told assembled journalists the start of the hearing had been pushed back till 2. It wasn't clear what caused the delay, but suspect Joshua Kerry's legal team, including his solicitor Andrew Swaby, would want to speak to him before proceedings begun. He'd arrived in the building a short time before. And then we've got this little video. Let's have a look at this video.
Magistrates Court. We were expecting Joshua Kerry to appear before a magistrate this morning. That now looks like it's been pushed back to possibly 2 o'clock in the afternoon, or certainly after lunch. It's not entirely clear why that has happened, but this is pretty common. Cases, especially at magistrates' courts, are often pushed back, and there are other cases that the magistrates need to get to. We think Kerry arrived quite late, and his legal team will, of course, wanted to have spoken to him before any proceedings began. In other news, in Exeter, an inquest opened into the death of Anne Widdicombe. A coroner found that a post-mortem examination has been carried out, but the coroner said that no precise cause of death had yet been established. That inquest has now been adjourned until criminal proceedings finish. Now, on those criminal proceedings, when Joshua Kerry does eventually appear here, we can expect that hearing to be fairly brief, I think. The charge that he faces, a charge of murder, is so serious. It is not something that can be dealt with here. We can expect Joshua Kerry to confirm his name, to confirm his age, and then I expect the magistrate will send this case to the Crown Court, who will be better equipped to deal with it. It's possible we might get a date for that hearing today as well. Joshua Kerry was, of course, arrested on suspicion of murder on the 11th of July. He was then arrested again 2 days later on suspicion of terror offences. He's not been charged with any terror offences, but inquiries are ongoing. Counter-terror police yesterday said that they are exploring around 800 lines of inquiry. So that's all going on in the background. And in the meantime, political tributes are still being paid to Anne Widdicombe, somebody who was such a huge voice, really, in British politics for so
800 lines of inquiry. It's a lot, isn't it? You know, there is a lot to this. I think there's going to be a lot more that's going to come out about this. But 800 lines of inquiry. 800. It's a lot. Anyway, so then this is Sky News that I'm reading from here. This was their timeline today. Such delays are pretty common. Apparently, cases, especially at magistrates' court, are often pushed back, and there are other cases that the magistrates need to get to, he explains. We think that Kerry arrived quite late, and his legal team will have wanted to speak to him before any proceedings began. So, what happened then? As a reminder, Joshua Kerry has been charged with 1 count of murder after Anne Widdicombe's death earlier this month. So don't forget, he has not been charged with any terrorism-related incident yet. So that doesn't mean to say that it won't be changed, you know, to some sort of terrorist incident. But so far, he's charged with, you know, good old-fashioned plain murder, not terrorism. So he was arrested on suspicion of the former Tory minister's murder on the 11th of July. 2 days later, counter-terrorism police took over the investigation, and Kerry was rearrested on suspicion of commission, preparation, or instigation of acts of terrorism 2 days later. So don't forget, that is not what he's been found, what he's been charged with. He's been charged with murder, plain and simple. He has not been charged with any terrorism offences, but Assistant Commissioner Lawrence Taylor, the head of counter-terrorism policing, said that determining the motivation, including any possible political motivation, remains an active avenue of investigation. And he said yesterday that teams were pursuing more than 800 lines of inquiry after gathering a large amount of information in the past week. That is a lot, isn't it? 800 lines of inquiry. Hi, Louise. So what happened then? So then the suspect in the murder of Anne Widdicombe is due in court shortly, and they're just repeating really what they had already said. So this is, of course, the photo that we've already seen of Joshua. Now this was 2022. You know, he looks like quite a happy chappy there, doesn't he? But it's thought that his mental health deteriorated after his father died. Of course, he was working then. I mean, he lost that job. So, I know I keep saying, but I do think, young people like him, he's a young man. He should have been working, and not working won't have helped his mental health, will it? If all he was doing was sitting at home every day and brooding on politics. They say he's a communist sympathizer, or not all communists are murderers, of course, we have to remember. But if a young man like Joshua had been sitting at home brooding on things, I don't know, maybe drinking, maybe taking drugs or whatever, it's always better for young people to go to work at the end of the day. He looks a lot older. So if he's 28 now, this is 4 years ago. He was only 24. I mean, he does look a lot older than that, of course. But yeah, it won't have helped his mental health, losing his job or not working and just sitting at home every day. I don't believe that. I don't believe that would be good for your mental health. He looks relatively happy there, doesn't he? But of course, you can never tell from a photo, can you? So then he finally appears in court. He was in a grey tracksuit. He gave his name, age, and address. He arrived in the dock of Westminster Magistrates Court 1, flanked by 3 officers. The room was nearly full with court staff, legal counsel, and members of the press, along with some members of the public. He was wearing a grey tracksuit. His hair is shorter than in photos, so he's got short hair now. He sits down with his arms folded, but he stands to give his name, age, and address. And he is not asked to enter a plea. So he wasn't answered. He wasn't asked to give a plea. So he has not. It would have been not guilty anyway, because that's what they're always advised to plead first of all, isn't it? Not guilty. Right. So the judge said to him, "You're charged with an offence of murder, which can only be dealt with in a Crown Court. So you are therefore remanded into custody and sent to Crown Court." So it all seems a bit silly, really, doesn't it? I mean, it's like, they just really took him there just to tell him they couldn't deal with it there and he had to go to Crown Court. Basically, it was a waste of time, really, personally, I think. But anyway, then we do get these details. Anne, not Widdicombe, but Anne was hit 21 times with a hammer as she ate lunch. Now, I wonder if Anne's hearing maybe was not very good. If she had her door open, did he just literally walk in and she didn't hear him? Didn't hear him or see him? If she was sat in the kitchen with her back to the front door, and if her hearing's not brilliant, I don't know that it isn't. I'm just surmising how. I mean, that's why it's always good to have a dog, because nobody would walk into my house. Nobody can even walk past my house without the dogs going mad. So that's the good thing about having a dog. Because although they drive me mad sometimes with the, when they're barking, and they'll bark at anyone. Sometimes they bark at it. Who the hell are they barking at? And it'll be, they know before anyone's even come walking down the street. It's like they're on alert, so that's the good thing about having dogs as opposed to a cat, because of course I had a cat, Aloysius, but cats won't help to defend you, will they? So that's if you live alone, it's always good to have a dog, even a little one. I mean, we've got 3 dogs, one of which is a great big German Shepherd, and God, she's got an ear-splitting bark, as you all know, because you've all probably heard her at some point. But that's the good thing about having a dog. It's difficult for someone to catch you by surprise. So, prosecutor Kashif Malik said that the former Tory minister had been eating lunch when the suspect allegedly pulled up outside her house in Devon in a red Vauxhall Corsa before going in through the front door. She must have left the door open, unless he broke in through the front door. And why did she not hear him pulling up outside? It's like, why did she not hear, why did she not hear him pulling up outside again? Well, somebody's saying there, I'm just looking at the chat, Lisa, she's too old for a dog. You can get, yeah, but, I don't think you're ever too old for a dog. It's the type of dog, isn't it? You don't want to, as you get older, you just need even a little dog, an easy dog, an old dog. You can, there's plenty of older dogs in rescue shelters that need homes that are calm, but they'll still bark. You know what I mean? They don't need a lot of looking after, really, especially when you've got a big garden like Anne had and everything. But I know what you're saying. I would never have a big dog again, a great big German Shepherd. As much as I love her, I adore her, but she's so big and strong. She, she is like, she's sort of, she's so muscular. I mean, she just could pull me over easily if she wanted to. So yeah, little dogs, but even little dogs, at least they will make a noise. Yeah, no one makes more noise than a Chihuahua. At least they'd let you know if somebody was pulling up into your driveway. So, yeah, he went in through the front door. Oh, God, I can't believe he went in through the front door. Oh, my God, poor Anne. Did she have that front door open because it was hot? So the court was told that the suspect, 28-year-old Joshua Kerry, walked into Anne's kitchen and allegedly used a hammer. So he didn't use that wooden stick he'd taken with him, if he had, if that's true, and allegedly used a hammer to hit her on the head 21 times. Well, I'll tell you what, he will have taken that hammer with him, because how could he possibly know? Where she kept the hammers. So it's unlikely that, he walked into Anne's house and found a hammer just lying around. He's gone in there with that hammer, hasn't he? He's gone in there with that hammer. But, well, personally, talking about walking dogs and things like that, our German Shepherd now, we can't take her for a walk because, outside, because she doesn't like other dogs, that she was attacked by a dog. It's too stressful taking her out because she gets really nervous. Anyway, so we, luckily for me, we don't have a garden, though we have got a roof terrace. But also, I've got the basement where I do the classes, the classroom downstairs, which is huge. So we run her around there and exercise her there. And to go to the toilet, she goes to the toilet upstairs. There's a little part where she always goes to the toilet, and just means you have to clear it up. But you've got to clear it up, even if you go out for a walk, you've got to clear up what they do. So yeah, no, not necessarily. You can give them exercise inside. There's ways around it, but definitely, yeah. I think the worst thing about having a dog, Lisa, is definitely picking up after them. I think dogs, if they didn't, they didn't have to poo, they'd be much more pleasant to look after. But there you go. That's just something you've got to do, isn't it? Especially big dogs. My God. Like clearing up after a horse sometimes. So yeah, it's not much fun, but it's easy enough to do. Do you know what I mean? It's not a big deal really, but I wouldn't have a big dog again. I definitely wouldn't have a big dog. Walking dogs can be stressful because as there's so many dogs these days. Everywhere you go, there's loads of people with dogs. Some people don't have them on a lead. Sometimes they're worse on a lead. There's always stress. There's always stress, bark fests and things like that. And that, some dog experts say that walking dogs is like a human concept. That taking a dog for walks is more for people than the dogs, as long as you make sure they get their exercise. But anyway, so we've ended up talking about dogs. But one thing is for sure, yeah, I perhaps was too old for a dog at 78. But one thing that's sure is a dog would have helped Anne on that day, wouldn't it? Because surely someone pulled up right out into her driveway and walked in through her front door. Surely a dog would have noticed that, alerted her at least. Anyway, so yeah, he walked right into her kitchen while she was having her lunch and allegedly used a hammer to hit her on the head 21 times. That takes some doing, doesn't it? That takes a lot of doing. And he then allegedly tipped her off her chair and took a wallet from her handbag. Before driving off, he spent only 2 minutes in her home. Oh my God, 2 minutes. I mean that, when I was doing like the hammer blows, how can you do 21 hammer blows in 2 minutes? I was thinking that would take you at least 5 minutes, but he must have really, it's what I mean, all that anger, even though he'd driven all that long way, he was still so angry that he's literally just gone, what. I mean, he's a big guy, of course, and he's a strong guy. Oh my God. Then he's tipped, so he's done it while she sat on the chair by the sound of it, eating her lunch. He's literally a blitz attack on this poor woman. Hit her 21 times, tipped her off the chair, and took a wallet from her handbag. Only spent 2 minutes in her home. Oh my God. That is a real blitz attack, isn't it? She just wouldn't have known what hit her. That's the good thing. I hope she knew nothing about it, and I hope she knew nothing after the first blow. I hope so. I hope it was quick for Anne and she didn't suffer. Because my fear, if you like, or what was haunting me when I first heard about it was, did he leave her there? Was she not dead yet? Could she have been safe? Because they think she was there for 24 hours, don't they? Before she was actually found. That's a horrible, horrible thought, isn't it? That maybe she was lying there. Anyway, let's not think about that. Let's just hope she didn't know anything about this blitz attack. So a provisional cause of death was given as blunt force injury to the head, prosecutors told the court. Yeah. Yes, Mara, let's hope he came at her from behind and she didn't know anything about it. I hope so. Bless her. So then correspondent Barnaby Papadopoulos was at Westminster Magistrates Court for the brief hearing, and the murder charge was reported to be so serious that the magistrate sent the matter over to be heard at the Old Bailey. I don't know that they had to have a court hearing to decide that. And then it says Joshua Kerry is due to appear there later this afternoon. Oh, so here's the court sketches. So he sat with his arms folded. The court sketches are always a bit. I mean, that looks nothing like his other photo, does it? I mean, he's obviously got his hair cut shorter. maybe, of course, it's 4 years on, mental illness actually can change the way you look. So, that's that's his court drawing. There he is again. Don't know why we don't get to see a mugshot if he's actually been arrested, charged. So a court artist was at Westminster Magistrates Court to produce these drawings of Joshua in the dock. He wore a grey tracksuit for the short hearing, and he appeared emotionless throughout, speaking only to confirm his name, date of birth and address. So then he was taken to the Old Bailey then. So they took him from there to the Old Bailey, and the prosecutor, Alistair Richardson, told the court that before his arrest, he was living in Rotherham, South Yorkshire, 265 miles from Anne's address in Devon. So his next hearing now is not till the 9th of October. So we won't, 9th of October before his next hearing. And then a further plea and trial preparation hearing will be on the 20th of November, and a provisional trial day was listed for the 8th of June 2027. So we've got to wait a long time for the trial, but anyway. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. And those court drawings, they are terrible, aren't they? They're always terrible. We comment on it every time. I mean, in the Preston Davy trial, I was struggling to know which one was which defendant, because neither of them looked like the defendants, did they? They're always pretty crapo. Anyway. So basically, to summarise, a provisional cause of death was given as blunt force injury to the head. The matter was then heard at the Old Bailey, and Kerry will next appear in the same court on the 9th of October, and a provisional trial date was listed for the 8th of June. And there he is. Looks absolutely nothing like his other photo, does it? It just... Sorry, I mean, I'm not laughing because it's funny, because obviously it's not funny, but it's just, you can't, you couldn't put them two together and make the same person, could you? Now, they are notoriously terrible, the court sketches, I think, so we have to remember that. But do you know what? They'd be better off releasing a photo, wouldn't they? They cause more... why are you not allowed to just release an official photo? In America, you can have a photo, even if the court cases are not televised. Normally, you get a photo. This just causes, this just causes more speculation, doesn't it? Because people are going to look at that, think, oh, looks like a completely different person. And it just breeds another load of conspiracy theories, doesn't it? Because he does look absolutely nothing like the other photos of him. And it's just crackers, isn't it? Crackers. Oh dear. I mean, if you didn't laugh, you'd cry. Sorry for laughing. I'm not trying to make light of a terrible case. Just the world's crazy, isn't it? It's crazy. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. See, I can't even say whether that's a good drawing or not, because I haven't seen a photo. Wouldn't it be better to just release one official photo of him in the dock? Wouldn't they just be better to do that? And then nobody'd say, oh no, it looks nothing like him or whatever. So this is the summary, the recap. An inquest into Anne's death was held earlier this morning in Exeter, where the cause is yet to be established. I mean, that's all weird as well, isn't it? The medical cause is yet to be established. She was hit 21 times over the head with a hammer. You know, do you need to really be a coroner to decide the cause of death? Anyway, Joshua Kerry arrived at Westminster Magistrates Court. The matter was delayed on multiple occasions. The hearing was held this afternoon, where he entered the dock and was flanked by 3 officers and Chief Magistrate. Paul Goldspring remanded Kerry in custody, saying the murder charge can only be heard in a Crown Court. And the court heard that Kerry walked into Anne's kitchen and allegedly used a hammer to hit her on the head 21 times and took a wallet from her handbag. That's interesting, isn't it? I wonder if when he ordered his pizza later on that night, whether he ordered it with Anne's card. I mean, how stupid is he? How stupid is this man? This, you know, when it's a thicko like this as well, to me it makes it worse because he's not a criminal genius, is he? He's been caught on CCTV outside his own house. He's got in his own car with a big wooden stick, which seems like he didn't use. He used a hammer instead. And then he's gone off miles away to Devon. He's probably been caught on CCTV at Anne's house. I would imagine she had cameras. I don't know. You can't imagine that she wouldn't have cameras. He's walked into her house. He's murdered her in a blitz attack. Probably left his DNA all over the place. I mean, we saw him, or the video of him getting into his car. Wasn't like in the Nancy Guthrie case where the guy had a balaclava on and gloves and this, that, and the other. He's in shorts and a t-shirt. So he's walked into Anne's house. He's viciously murdered her with a hammer. Now, whether he left that weapon there or whether he took it back with him or whether he disposed of it on the journey, but he's probably left DNA everywhere. He's taken her wallet out of her handbag. I mean, why? So when the police, so was it a robbery? What was it? Why did he take her wallet? He thought, oh, I need some extra cash for my pizza later when I get home. Normally you wouldn't want to be caught with you wouldn't want to be caught with someone's possessions, would you? It's crazy, just crazy. I mean, he probably is crazy, to be fair. I mean, as I say, he's not like criminal mastermind territory, is it? But the other thing that a lot of cases that I've covered, it's amazing how many people, after they've murdered someone, they go and get some junk food. It must be really tiring or makes you hungry killing somebody. How many people are caught in McDonald's or, you quite often sort of see these true crime cases and they go, "Who's arrested in McDonald's?" McDonald's get lots of free publicity because of the number of people that bloody caught actually arrested in McDonald's having a Big Mac after they brutally murdered somebody. Anyway, he didn't go for a Big Mac. He ordered a pizza in, didn't he? He didn't come out of his house apparently, except to put the bins out until he was arrested. Other places that get free publicity, Walmart. Honest to God, in America, Walmart, they don't need to advertise because they get so much free advertising for all the criminals that get, they buy their balaclavas in Walmart, or they're cleaning up supplies or whatever. Walmart gets more mentions, doesn't it, than anything. So, all that free advertising. Dear me, dear, oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, he may have taken it to make it look like a burglary, I suppose, maybe. But then to me, it just thinks it's something that you take, and if you are caught, because let's face it, what if he would have just got stopped for speeding, or having a light bulb out or whatever on his car, and he's covered in blood, and he's got Anne Widdicombe's wallet in his possession. Most, unless it doesn't. Well, we don't know the full details yet. I mean, he may have taken the wallet and just flung it away, as on the way home. He may have flung it away, may have taken it to make it look like a burglary, and then disposed of it. Or he may have taken it home and used a card to buy his pizza. I mean, you know what? These people do stupid things like that. We just don't know, do we? Ay, ay, ay. So that's what happened today. So we did find out more details. We found out that he now looks nothing like he used to look. We found out that poor Anne was blitz attacked as she was sat eating her lunch in her kitchen, tipped off her chair and just left there. We found out that he took her wallet. We found that he hit her. We found out that he hit her 21 times with a hammer. So he wasn't messing about, on the head as well. So he was trying to kill. That isn't just an assault, is it? That was to kill someone. When you hit someone 21 times on the head with a hammer, old lady or not, anyone, they're going to die. They're going to sustain such terrible injuries that they're probably going to die. So it was intentional murder. It was planned. He drove all those miles, and he meant to do it. He's a twonk. I nearly said TWAT then. I might say that again in a minute. Let's have a look at. Let's just look. There you go. So there's photo of him in 2022. Yeah. His hair's longer, beard's longer. And of course he's got glasses on. He hasn't got glasses on in his sorry, it just looks nothing like him whatsoever. I'm trying to think who he does look like. Somebody said Trevor Eve, didn't they? And he does look a bit like Trevor Eve on that, but reminds me of somebody else. I'm trying to think who it is. Anyway, he definitely doesn't look anything like he did used to look. But yeah, where's his glasses? Maybe he's not allowed to have his glasses because he might, I don't know, do something with him. I don't know. Everyone's saying it's not the same man, but yeah, it would have been much better to just release a photo than these stupid court drawings. Just ridiculous. Who does that remind? Reminds me of somebody. It'll come to me. So there you are. Thought I'd give you that update. Poor Anne, what she went through. Just hope she didn't know, that literally was a blitz attack in the sense. Yeah, it does look Spanish. Yeah, on that picture. Maybe it's somebody. Reminds me of Don Quixote, I think, or someone like that. So, some Spanish conquistador or something. Yeah. Hi, Wesley. Yeah, on his other photo, he looks like the hairy biker. Yeah, but not on his not on the court drawing. Oh, poor Anne. You know, nobody deserves to have that ending that Anne had. You know, she sat there and it just, you know, just horrible, horrible. In your own kitchen, in your own home, you're not doing anything sort of like that. If people might think is risky, you know, you can't get much less risky, can you, than sitting in your own kitchen eating your lunch? But I have a feeling. I wonder if she left that front door open because it was hot. You know, to let people do things like that, don't they? You know, you must never do that. I want all you chatters to promise me. Don't leave your doors open, please. Don't leave your doors open when it's hot. People do take risks, don't they? They leave their windows open, their doors open, or whatever. And of course, you should be able to do that. But very sadly, in this world that we live in, you cannot do that. You're not safe, even in your own home. You are not safe. It's sad, very, very sad. But it's sadly is a fact of life. And it doesn't matter if you live in what you might think of as a nice area, like that area where Anne lived. All the neighbours, oh, nothing like that ever happens round here. Same with Nancy Guthrie. Oh, nothing like that. No, things like that happen everywhere. Sometimes I think you're safer in a built-up place, because people can't do it without being seen. But yeah, you've got to think about your security, especially as you get older, because she was vulnerable. She would live there on her own with a cat. Um, you know, Sadly, these predators, they pick on vulnerable people. Don't they? It's horrible. It's horrible that they do that, pick on vulnerable people like that. Children, old people. Terrible. Terrible it is. Absolutely terrible. So we're saying some prayers for Anne. I think about her a lot. She's on my mind a lot at the moment. It might, maybe now that he's been charged. Thing is, we can't change what's happened to Anne. It's happened, and that Anne was a person of great faith. She, hopefully she's been reunited with a mum, a dad, a brother, etc. And she strongly believed in things like that. So I hope that's exactly what's happened to her. So she'll be up there giving everybody hell. I don't mean in hell. I mean she'll be. She's not a bad person, so I would imagine she's gone upwards, not downwards. She'll be up there giving everybody lectures. Um, you know, Indomitable spirit, I think, is how you would describe Anne Widdicombe. And you know what? Indomitable spirits, they don't know, it doesn't end. Energy never dies anyway. So I'm sure she's up there giving everyone a rollicking. Oh dear, oh dear. I'll tell you what, if I lived in America, I would definitely have a gun by now. I'm so anti-gun, but I can see why people in America get guns, because you need it for your own security. Because there's people out there with guns. I mean, that person who walked up to Nancy Guthrie's house, he had a gun, didn't he? So, I would definitely have a gun under my pillow if I thought I could. If I lived in a place like America where you could get one, you can go and buy one in Walmart or wherever. Oh dear, oh dear. But personal security, it's very important. You've got to think about it, You've got to think about it. Sadly, you shouldn't have to. Shouldn't have to, you know, arm yourself to keep yourself safe, should you? But sadly, you do have to. But I mean, to be fair, in Anne's case, I don't think it would have made any difference. But what Anne maybe might have helped Anne is not leaving the door open. But Anne's probably done that all the years she's lived in that house. When the weather's been nice, she's probably left the door open to let a breeze through. Never worried about anything, any harm, coming to her. Very sad. Anyway, very, very sad. Yeah, now in Spain there is a place where you can buy pepper spray, or it's not pepper spray, but it's like, a copy of it. I think you can make your own pepper spray and things like that. Whenever the thing is, in America everything's legal, isn't it? You can order all this stuff on bloody Amazon, can't you? But here and in the UK and in many countries, arming yourself for your self-protection, you can't do it. You can't do it. It's illegal. Terrible, really. But anyway, there you go. Yeah, lemon juice, vinegar, pepper, literally pepper and vinegar or lemon juice. You could put in a spray bottle, couldn't you? A little spray bottle. But of course, none of these things would have helped Anne, would they? That's the thing to remember. There's also, I think, if somebody really wants to do you harm, it's very difficult to stop it, because when someone just turns up like that, blitz attack, what chance did Anne have? Anyway. So I'm reading the chat now. That's why I'm going quiet, reading the chat. I don't know. Scary, isn't it? It's a scary world we live in. But now we do have to remember. Now I've been watching quite a lot of old Crime Watch documentaries. Remember, don't have nightmares. Don't have nightmares. That's what they always used to say at the end, wasn't it? Don't have nightmares. Bloody hell. Can't stop yourself from having nightmares after watching them. But they were good, They were like, the reconstructions that they did and things like that. They were good. And they solved a lot of crimes, Crime Watch. Of course, now there's DNA and that, so that's what solves most crimes these days. But anyway, I've got to go. So I've got to go and pick up number one son, and I'll see you really soon in the next video. And at least now we know some more details. We know that the suspect has been charged, and that I'm sure they've got, he said, what did he say? 800 lines of inquiry. I bet they've got loads of evidence against this guy, because he's not a criminal mastermind, is he? So I'm sure we'll find it out gradually, but we've got to wait till next year for the trial. So thank you so much. Take care, look after you. Remember, you are the most important person, because you're the person probably who's holding everything together. So treat yourself, do something nice for you, and I'll see you really soon in the next video. And until then, may your God go with you. Bye.